Artur, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you on 5 Minute BI, and you're actually the second in a row from Germany.
Yeah,
How are
nice
you
to
doing
meet
these
you.
days? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, nice to meet you. And it's of course it's an honor to be after my colleague Marcus and his awesome tutorial about some backend tricks, which I will continue
it was
today.
amazing. It was
Yeah.
amazing for me, and I was surprised how Marcus finished the trick in 5 minutes. I wanted to ask you to introduce a little bit yourself and tell us, and to those who may not know you, and we're going to get more familiar with Arthur Koenig today.
Yeah, so yes, I'm Artur König. I'm a founder and CEO of the platform Impasse. It's a small, very focused consultancy on the Microsoft data stack, consisting of experts like Marcus, who was before me, and yeah, we are
Uh-huh.
5 in total. Maybe you get us all afterwards, and yeah, we are passionate
Yeah, I know you all.
experts.
You
Yeah.
all. I know your whole team.
Yeah, today I will talk about DirectQuery, something that is more like shouldn't be the standard mode in a Power BI definitely, but in some cases you need it when the data is too big, when you really need real time. And today I want to show how you can make it dynamic with bound parameters. Therefore, I just take a SQL database from my Azure. This is nothing special, so just connect, and I will build it from scratch. This is a standard Contoso 10K. It's not big
Uh-huh.
because we need it fast for the demo. In reality, of course, when you have billions of data, then
Mm-hmm.
import might be not the right mode. You have to switch to direct query. And this is like for the first move, it's enough. I just say okay and let it load. And then we go to, yeah, I just take one table. It's enough for the demo, and I want to focus on loading customers by the country. Let's
Uh-huh.
load it first. And you already see it's not so immediately fast, even if it's small, because of course, when you use direct query, everything is
Mm-hmm.
loaded and at the whole time. So when I try, for example, to have the company name and the city and the country here, yeah, it's different data here.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to filter it by continent, because this is of course way too much and I don't want to load everything at once. When I do here,
Uh-huh.
of course I can filter it, but you know, when I change the filter, all the data is still loaded. So when I
Yeah.
change the filter from Australia to Europe, I still have the data for Europe here. And when it's
Uh-huh.
billions of data, it really makes a difference. So
The query immediately changes when you slice the
yes,
slicer and sends it back to the
yeah.
source.
So it loads the whole data. And this is
Uh-huh.
the something I want change to make it faster. And for example, when I click on Australia, only load the data for Australia. And to
So our
make it,
topic today is somehow performance topic.
yes,
It fits in the
definitely.
category.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you see it's still for Australia, it's still lots of data here.
It's so many
And
data.
yeah, and it's definitely worth it. Yeah, to make it a little bit small. So here to make it more uh, trackable, I just switch it only to the countries. It's very compact, but now we can fast change. And to make it really dynamic, you have to go into
Uh-huh.
direct, into M code, into the Power Query. Whoa. Um, and yeah, here you see I'm just loading the whole database. And the
Uh-huh.
first move we need to change is to give an explicit SQL query for this. You have this options here, and you can start with a really basic SQL language, select star from Contoso 10K. Yeah, I just load the whole. It will change nothing, but just to make the switch more easy. Okay. It also needs the server name. This is not a problem because, of
can
course,
provide that.
yes, I have the. Of course, I need not only the Contoso, but I, of course, need the table. You know, data is the schema and customer is the table because this is the table I definitely want to get. And now, as you see, nothing changed so far. It's still when you need to check it, we have all the continents are still here and all the countries.
Whole
So here,
table is here.
yeah, it's still loading everything. And when you would track it, it would show that everything is loaded and it's slow. And now, of course,
It costs too much on the server
yeah,
side.
yeah, it's always against the Azure, and in reality, it will be run against your data warehouse and produce also costs, definitely.
Yeah, I can see that.
But now, as I formulated the query explicitly, I don't need
Can
this
you magnify that? Zoom on the query?
Not in M code, unfortunately.
It's not available.
This is not good. I hope
I
it
will
will
do
be,
that later on editing part. Yeah,
it will be
in
possible in
Camtasia.
post-production. So when I'm manipulating the query, you can always go to this editor. And now there is always like where is the select from? There is also a where. And now I need to go and to make it, for example, the continent. I also take this string and I can say data continent is Australia, for example.
It's
Now,
solid.
yeah, now I have an explicit SQL statement here. And now let's check what happens. Okay.
Suddenly error happens.
I need to, of course, use these brackets and yeah, that's live. Let's
M code
try.
is so case sensitive.
This one, yeah, you always need like to say okay when you load a query against a database. This is just to say okay when you publish in the web. It's a parameter you can change, so it always runs. But when you're developing, you always have. We will see it sometimes.
We can change it in features. You know, when running native queries, we can set uncheck the ask option.
Yes, indeed, we can. But but for now it should be okay. So now I formulated explicitly Australia, and now we have when I go to country and also I go to the content, I see okay, it's only Australia here.
It's only Australia, yeah.
It's a small data set, so we can see, and now I can, of course, when I change it to Europe, I have this stuff for Europe, and I say, okay, we also have, so now only the data is loaded from the database, only the data for Europe is loaded, and not data for North America and Australia. So this is the difference, but how I can make it like
dynamic,
possible to control it by the end user, because here in the backend, I will not expect an end user to go in the backend and to change it. And here parameters come into play. I just go to the parameters menu, create a new parameter and call it continent. And I can just, for the moment, just say it Australia and it's a text. And I already copied the name. And now I have a very simple text parameter that I can use. And I can, in this query, I can address this parameter. So I need to take care about the brackets here. And
the magic part is here. I can assume that.
And now I have, instead of hard-coded Australia, I have here the par continent, and I can, when I say OK, then it loads Australia here, and when I go and just change the parameter, then
the query changes.
something changes here, and we can easily like make the proof. For example, there's no data for Asia in this case, and it's even if I say OK, it will be empty. So the query is dependent on this parameter. But this is like half the battle, right? We can still change the parameter. It's good when you publish, but it's still not controllable by the end user. And we want to make it controllable by the end user. And therefore, we need something else. We need to have this slicer table that we already have here. It shouldn't come from this dynamic table, but it should be separate. And therefore, I just for now, I just hard code slicer table because it makes my life easier for the moment. And of course, it could be in real life scenarios. It could be, for example, an import.
Statement.
Yeah, and also table and import mode, which you don't have to load in real time all the time. And I call it just selection. And now we have like a table and import mode here for the continents.
Another query.
Now for simple bound parameters, we have everything in place. So I can go to the front end again and let it load. This is okay because we combine import and direct queries. So it now changes to hybrid mode. So now we see that, yeah, I can still filter, but I don't want the filter to be from this table and bring this selection in place. For now, of course, nothing is combined.
Yeah, nothing works yet.
We are not ready yet. But there is a feature that is not very well known. When I go to the model view and have the selection here, and then I choose this column explicitly, then I can go to the more like extended infos, and here there is bound to parameter. I translated like vocally because it's in German, and here I can find this parameter which is only available in Power Query. So you don't see it here, but I can address it here and say, okay, now this column is bound to the parameter in the backend, so I can change the parameter in the backend in Power Query from my Power BI frontend. So
beautiful.
Let's test it here, and we know it's already loading again. And because Asia was first, it switched to single select. And when I change to Australia, we see Australia. When I change to Europe, I see Europe. And so we can use a slicer in the front end, and North America wasn't available before, so I just have to say OK once. You can turn it off as you said, and now I can switch it back. And in real life scenarios, when we handle lots of data, this is very valuable. Maybe not for such easy example, but when you have like accounting data and wants only for some deep dive, you want to all the lines of some bookings, and there are lots of them.
Honestly, I haven't seen this trick before, and it's so brand new for me. I have some
because direct query is not so common, and that's why like this edge sides of direct query, like bound parameters, they are not well known actually.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy.
I didn't have a clue about it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something, and it's that is this feature and this part available on all the versions of Power BI Desktop?
Yes.
It doesn't
This is
need any
not
premium or
something
pro versions.
not something unique to Fabric, not at all. So you can use it with every data source that is in DirectQuery. So you cannot use it with an API, for example. When you have a web API, there you cannot write this
Use this
SQL
method.
code, right?
Yeah.
And so there it's limited, but every source that is in DirectQuery, mostly SQL databases, can be used with
You know, Artur,
ground
we can
parameters.
go for another 5-minute PI for the API part, you know?
But it no, with APIs it's not possible.
It's
It's
not
only
possible.
possible in paginated reports. But
Aha.
then we need way more than 5 minutes for paginated
Whoa.
reports.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think
As you
learning
say
is
in
always a
German,
process.
vielen Dank, you know? You say
Yeah,
vielen Dank?
thank you for having me here.
It
And
was great. It was awesome.
yeah,
You
and
know,
I think I hope it's okay for you. I just made a screenshot. I can post it, I think, tomorrow.